Okay, and let the record show that we've got all trustees except for Sanjay Dubey, and we have our 2 student reps here as well. Welcome. And this takes us to item 7.1. So I would take a motion, and I think we're going to pull something up front. Yeah.
Okay, I move that we approve the agenda with the following correction, that we pull 15.1 personnel report to before item 9.0.
Second. Thank you. So I've got a motion and a second that we approve the agenda as presented, except that we're going to pull item 15.1, which is our personnel report for everybody sitting there without an agenda in front of you, to a much earlier item before item 9. Ava, how would you like to vote?
I approve.
Thank you. Riley?
I approve.
Thank you. And back to the board. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Under item 8, no action was taken in closed session, so there's nothing to report out from there. Which takes us to item 15.1, which we just pulled, which is our personnel report. And we pulled this because we wanted to acknowledge one of the appointments this evening, which is very exciting. And actually, why don't we vote, and then I'll say the exciting part. But take a motion.
I move that we approve the personnel report, which was formerly 15.1.
Thank you. So I have a motion and a second from Catherine and Debbie that we approve the personnel report as presented. And Ava, how would you like to vote?
I approve.
Thank you. Riley?
I approve.
And back to the board.
Aye.
Thank you. That passes unanimously. And now the reason that we pulled this, Elvis, if you would stand up, we would like to acknowledge, and you're welcome to come up and say hi. Elvis Lopez is our new Director of Fiscal Services in and Elvis has been with us for 20 years, and we are so grateful, Elvis, to have had you this whole time and to now have you as a right-hand person for Mike. And I will turn this over to Mike, if you wanted to say a couple of words, you're welcome to, and also Elvis, if you would like to. Put you on the spot, sorry.
Yes, I'll sign it out. I would like to say thank you for this opportunity. It is a privilege in becoming the next Director of Fiscal Services here at MVLA. I would like to thank the district and all of the board members for providing opportunities and room for growth for everyone. I would also like to give a special thanks to Mike for his continued support in my various roles and for always being a sounding board no matter the situations like COVID. I am honored to work with all of you in my new role. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elvis.
Yeah, it's just exciting to have this position filled. It's exciting to have somebody. This is one of many internal promotions that Elvis has had over his career at MVLA. So we're looking forward to continue to work together, but just also opportunity for growth. And he's in a program that's going to support him and help him reach new heights too in his role as fiscal director. So we're just thrilled. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Of all the years I've been on the board, you've always been really supportive and done a stellar job. And I think that this position that you're getting is well deserved. And I know that you have to go through training and everything. It's going to be a little bit difficult, but if you need any help from us, let us know. But I'm thinking you're going to be awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
When I was board president, there have been a couple of times I've had to stay late on several nights. When I leave through the side door, the other door open, Elvis was still there. He was the only guy left. Thank you, Elvis.
May I add something also? And that is, when I became a trustee, and in 2018, I guess that would be, and I would come and ask Mike something, he'd go, well, let me check that with Elvis. So Elvis knew the details all along of a lot of different things. And so I think it's perfect for you to be promoted to do this job that is looking over the details at a different level.
Thank you for being here. now we're on to item 9.1, which would be board member reports. If anybody's got anything? No? Okay. And item 10 is student board member reports. Riley, do you want to start us?
Yes, so Los Altos is a big week. It's our homecoming week, which is super exciting. Our ASB class was at school from 9 to 5 yesterday decorating, and a bunch of clubs came for about 3 hours too, and they were decorating. So the whole school looked really nice. Not all of it stayed up throughout the night because it was super windy, and we made these little cutouts that we hung all around the school, and about half of those fell down, but I still think it looks really nice, and all the clubs did a really good job decorating. And on Wednesday, we have our first rally of the year, which is really exciting, since the previous ones were canceled. And we're gonna have 2 rallies outside with the juniors, sophomores on the home bleachers, the freshmen on the track, and the seniors on the away bleachers. So they have their own area, and the HOCO top 20 seniors are in 4 groups of 5, and they're performing skits at the rally. We also have cheer and dance performing, and then we have 2 games, one with a person on top of a mattress, which people pick up the mattress and they run around these cones without them falling off, hopefully. And then we have people in inflatable dragon costumes, and they're gonna be doing an obstacle course. On Friday, we have a minimum day, and we have our parade with our class floats and clubs, which are walking through Main Street on downtown Los Altos, which is super exciting. Today was PJ Day, tomorrow's Camo Day, Wednesday's Hogwarts themed class colors, Thursday's Space Day, and Friday's Monster Mash. Our theme is fantasy, but I guess we kind of just make anything seem like it's fantasy because I never really understand. Yeah, anyways. Our winter sports tryouts are starting to happen, as sadly our fall sports are coming to an end. Our Mamma Mia musical auditions are coming up, and we've had a lot of workshops during ACT time with singing workshops and dancing workshops for people that are auditioning for that. We had our annual earthquake drill with the video of the lady in the car last week, which I know the seniors like to know about. We watch that every year. And then 2 Fridays ago, we had a Pie the Teacher and Jumpstart Mentor Day, which I know is a huge hit. I sadly wasn't at school that day, but I saw a lot of funny videos of teachers getting pied by their students, some with very, looked like good intentions to pie their teachers that they had in previous years. And then finally, our seniors have been taking taking advantage of the College and Career Center, especially as our early decision and early action deadlines are approaching. And I know seniors are starting to get a little bit stressed out because of college apps, but the College and Career Center has been really helpful. And I've had a lot of positive feedback about that.
Great.
Was Pie the Teacher a fundraiser?
It actually was, yeah. And I know it did well. It was $3 to pie a student. Jumpstart Mentors, which were the freshman leaders for orientation, and then $5 to pie a teacher.
Which teacher made the most money?
I'm not sure, but I know Mr. Mole was a big hit. I don't know. Did you see anyone else?
I know Mr. Murray got quite a lot.
Mr. Murray, yeah. Yeah, so I know that went well. I know some students were like, oh, I got a B in your class, and so they find that. Yeah.
So one more question. When does the board get to see the video with the lady in the car?
I don't know. We've seen that every year. It's just the same video. It's kind of it's a hit now. You have to watch every year. But I don't know if Matt, you said you didn't see that? But it's just the classic earthquake drill video that we see every year. The lady in the car, yeah.
Thank you. And Ava.
Okay, so the most recent event that ASB put on was our blood drive with the Stanford Blood Center, and that was last Friday or 2 Fridays ago. And our blood drive ended up collecting 60 units of blood, which will potentially impact 180 patients, which is a huge success. And our goal was 50 donors, so we did exceed our goal. And this past Friday, we had our last home football game against Palo Alto. The game was lost by 1 point, so it was a really entertaining and fun game. And now we're looking forward to winter sports games like basketball and soccer, rapidly approaching. And the league games for boys and girls water polo are this week. Girls golf has contenders for CCS. And then girls volleyball senior night is tomorrow. ambassadors, our ambassadors program at Mountain View is starting a gift card drive for the holidays in an effort to support all of our families at Mountain View. So they're looking for donations of gift cards to Target, Walmart, or Safeway to make the beginning of the holiday season brighter for Spartan families in need. Our Mountain View Library will be holding its annual Halloween coloring contest. This year, the theme is spiders, so people are participating in that. And then this past Friday, we also had a freshman tailgate, which was held by the ambassadors program and our freshman class cabinet in ASB. They had snacks, music, and it was just like a socialization event to check up on the freshmen after ending our first quarter. And our new academic peers program has been launched, and the first cohort of peers has been trained. I talked about this a couple meetings ago, but they're just being recognized for not only their academic ability, but also their willingness to help build a community within the classroom and create a safe space for their fellow students. And these academic peers can be nominated by any teacher and for more than one subject. And they're just helping out in that class. And lastly, this week is a Halloween Spirit Week for ASB. So on Friday, we're doing like a trick-or-treating event at school instead of our usual haunted house, with a select group of teachers handing out candy to the students at their classrooms. And then the spirit days, today was PJ Day, tomorrow is Black and Orange, Wednesday is anything but a backpack day, Thursday is Disney, and then Friday is costume day for Halloween. So yeah.
Lots going on. Okay, so we are headed into item 11, which is our Students of the Month, and I'll turn it back over to Riley again. You wanna go first?
Stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can stand up. Los Altos High School is proud to honor Sophia Mujica as our October Student of the Month. It's a privilege to recognize all of her accomplishments throughout her time at Los Altos High School. Sophia has been very involved in clubs throughout her 4 years at Los Altos. She started the club Viva Venezuela with her older sister freshman year, with the goal of helping to collect much-needed medical supplies amidst the national crisis. Her family's from Venezuela, and she wanted a way to support her family and the Venezuelans on a larger scale rather than simply donating money on its own. With the support of teachers around campus, they've raised tons of medical supplies and have made a direct positive impact within Venezuela. Additionally, Sophia is a part of the Advanced Science Investigation class at school, which is an intense and selective research class for juniors and seniors. In ASI, Sophia is working on a project titled Effects of Varying Growth Factors on Differentiated Porcine Adipose Derived Stem Cells to Induce Cartilage Growth. In simpler terms, she called it AKA trying to grow cartilage from pig fat. On the athletic side of things, Sophia has been playing for the school tennis team for 4 years and made varsity tennis her sophomore year. She is a strong leader on the team and serves as one of the team captains. The Los Altos girls tennis team is very talented, and they were even able to travel down to San Diego for a tournament a few weeks ago. She grew up with the sport and loves how it allows her to be herself and spend time with some of her best friends. Outside of school, Sophia has been a part of the club SANG since her sophomore year. It stands for Computer Engineers of the Next Generation and holds the mission of inspiring underrepresented minorities to explore and develop an interest in computer science. She is also a National Charity League volunteer, leads a class over the summer with students in Guatemala, and was a volunteer dog walker for the terraces of Los Altos since 5th grade. Congratulations, Sophia Mujica, receiving October Student of the Month, and for all your amazing success and dedication to give back to your community and school. We can't wait to see all of the amazing accomplishments coming your way in the near future.
Thank you very much. So we may have some questions if you want to step up to the mic, Sophia.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hi.
Do we have a question? Anybody? Yeah, Phil, go ahead.
So I was really intrigued by your ASI.
Yeah.
topic. How did you come up with that?
I've had it sounds bad if I say it's for like my own personal reasons, but I've had like chronic knee pain since 7th grade, and every single doctor I've been to, which has been like upwards of 7, they're like, oh, like your cartilage is like degrading, we have nothing to do for you. And that's like a big thing for lots of rheumatoid arthritis patients around the globe. So there are some studies being done where they use porcine stem cells, which are from pigs, to grow cartilage, but they've had some setbacks with it. So my partner and I have combined it with the usage of growth factors in order to grow natural cartilage other than like other cartilages, which like simpler terms, which like in past studies have grown, but it's not the proper cartilage for your knee. So hopefully, I haven't started it yet, but we've done lots of research and are hoping that it works. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I had self-interest in ethnicity.
Yeah.
Because I have a right knee that could really use that.
Yeah. Well, if it works, I will let you know.
Thank you.
Another question?
You have
My daughter has had a knee reconstructed with a ligament
Mm.
from a pig, so I don't know if that was part of your research to decide on pig parts to use as growing the cartilage.
Yeah, well,
or-
pig tissue and like ligaments also, like they're all like they're very similar to human ligaments, so that's
Yeah.
why it's a lot easier to just inject it into the body or to do research with it. But
Sorry, Catherine, I cut you off.
Well, you do so many things. You're a citizen of the world in terms of helping people in Venezuela and others, and then you're in the computer science area, and then you're in the medical area with this and the chemistry and the biology kind of thing. So what do you think you're going to do when you're done with high school? You've already done so many different things.
oh, it's funny because it's
What's
like
your goal?
it's well, I mean, like my major. Oh yeah, it's funny. It's like unrelated to all of those things actually. It's mechanical engineering.
Oh.
I like my dad's a race car, or as a hobby, he races cars. So I like spend a lot of time with him in the garage and working on his car. And so it's fun to me. But yeah, the biology, like other things are just like very interesting, but it's hard to combine it all into one.
Fun. Thank you. Do you
Yeah,
have
interesting.
family here with you tonight?
I
Are
do
you-
not. I wasn't
Okay.
sure what this was,
That-
but
that's okay.
my mom was like, I should come. And I was like, I don't know.
No worries. You still want to take a picture, yeah?
Oh, sure.
Come on up, you guys.
We're gonna do
Or a picture.
Wow.
In the middle.
Should I should sit
Sorry, Catherine.
You have to equal out the crowd.
The microphone. That's true.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll turn it over to Alba.
Mount View High School is proud to recognize Nilfer Sagat as our October 2021 Student of the Month. Nilfer is a current senior at Mount View and stands out as an extremely well-rounded and accomplished individual who is involved in her school as well as her community. Nilfer transferred to Mount View High School in the 10th grade as a student in ELD, and she finished her last year in ELD in the 10th grade. Since she has been a student at Mount View, she has founded the Chess Club and currently serves as the co-president. This club grows each year by 40 additional active members. She is also part of the varsity girls tennis team, and her favorite classes in previous years at Mountain View have been computer science and anatomy, and this year she is particularly enjoying philosophy and literature. Nilfer's counselor has recognized her as an extremely diligent, kind, helpful, and hardworking student. Outside of school, she is involved in an array of extracurricular activities. She has been an intern at the Stanford University Patel Lab for the past 2 years. Within this internship, she has worked on multiple projects on brain cancer research and portable diagnostic technology for COVID-19 at point-of-care settings. This internship has helped her realize that her passion and interests going forward in the future are neuroscience and computer science, specifically computational neurology. Nilüfer's further involvement in the STEM world includes her qualification for AIM, the American Invitational Mathematics Examination, during her junior year, which is an exceptional academic achievement. She has also written an article with her friend about stem cell research and ethics for The Fountain magazine that was published last year. Nilüfer is also an avid volunteer and activist. Currently, she is mentoring and teaching the Turkish language and culture to middle school students in the Turkish community in the Bay Area every week. She is also an advocate for women's rights and the issues surrounding the abrupt imprisonment of journalists in Turkey. She considers herself a bookworm, and one of her favorite books is The Royal Game, a chess story. She also loves going camping with her family and playing violin in her free time. Congratulations, Nilüfer.
Congratulations. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Good questions?
Well, I just want to say that is a tremendous list of accomplishments. I'm overwhelmed.
Thank you so much.
I'm especially interested in your invitation to the American Mathematical Examination. Was it the AIME?
It's called Amy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, first of all, I love seeing a girl in mathematics, a woman in mathematics. That's terrific. At least two of us here are mathematicians, Catherine and I. And welcome to the club.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Debbie's CS and I'm a mechanic, I'm ME, so,
Yeah.
you know, we got it covered up here.
Yeah.
I'm representing the humanities.
So my question is, to what do you attribute your interest in mathematics?
So are you asking like what I want to do in the future, or like how it built up throughout my like life?
Yeah, what got you interested? What made you decide that you like mathematics enough to study?
Oh yeah. So actually, I don't know. I always liked math for some reason. So I'm a Turkish citizen, and I came from Turkey like 3 years ago. So I got my math education from Turkey. And when I came here, I was actually shocked by like how the difference in like teaching math and like learning math. So apparently AMC, which is like the American Math Contest, like it was like a true fit for me to show off my like skills gained in Turkey about math. And I was always a math passion, so like I just wanted to try my shot. And apparently, yeah, I was invited for the American Math Contest again.
Very good. I'm not ignoring you. I don't hear well, so I'm reading your answer.
Oh, sorry about that.
So you mentioned something else that now interests me, and that is comparing the mathematics education in Turkey with what you experienced here. You said it was very different.
Yeah, it is.
Could you tell us a little bit about how it's different?
Well, I feel like when I first came here, my math teachers were somehow gave me like well, they took off points for my work because they thought that I was not doing it the right way, although I was doing it in a more simple way. I learned how to do math more like simplified, like and more useful way in Turkey. But when I came here, everything was on like theory. So they wanted me to show the theory-based like solution, which was like too difficult for me to actually perform because I was not used to it. So it took me like 3 years to actually learn how like math was working here. And I don't think I'm still like good at it, but yeah, I'm trying to manage it.
That's
Interesting.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Debbie.
So when you came here, how much English did you speak? I mean, what would you think? 'Cause I know you came in as student, but.
Yeah. Well, actually, my speaking was not that good. So, it took me 2 years to actually be able to like get in like a good amount of like level to actually be able to speak. But like back in my country, I went to like private schools. So I got like good education. I had like good grammar, writing skills and stuff, but my speaking was not that good. So I had to practice it a lot when I came here. And it was like one of the barriers when I faced when I first came here, like the language barrier, which was like kind of hard for me to, pass through. But like with with my friends, they helped me a lot, and everyone is like so welcome in Mountain View High School as well. And they helped me to like, like get rid of like every like language barrier and stuff.
It's very
Yeah.
impressive, very impressive how fast you were able to acclimate even so well.
Mhm.
So do you know what my last name means?
No.
It means Turkish. Just so
Really?
you know. But my husband's not mine, okay, I kind of married into it, right? But anyway, that means Turkish.
Oh.
So he's, my husband's half Hungarian, but I don't know why the name is Turkish. There must be something back in history.
Yeah, probably.
So if you look it up, it will say Turkish. So
I mean, it's similar, like
Yeah.
Turk.
It's kind of impressive. So what do you do with the students to be able to immerse them in the Turkish language or?
Yeah, I'm actually trying to make them not forget the language plus the culture, because I grew up in Turkish culture, and my family raised me that way. So now I'm in the like Turkish community, like all the parents want their children to not forget the language plus the culture, because it's their identity, right? So I'm helping them to like read in Turkish. I'm speaking to them in Turkish. I'm teaching like some cultural values plus some religious values, which are like so important for me. And it's also important for them and their families. So they're willingly, participating with me. So I'm like trying to give them more and more. Thank you.
I have a question too.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
No, we
Yeah.
will let you go
We
eventually.
will eventually. Both you and Sophia are so interesting young ladies. Anyway, so the computer science, that'll go really well with the computational part of the neurology.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated with that. I have reasons in my family history and medical history of neurology being a big thing. So I really encourage people doing research in that area.
Yeah, I think it's really important for few researchers to actually find like cure to the neurological like diseases, because it's impacting humans a lot.
And you know, UCSF right up the street in
Yeah.
San Francisco is one of the top 3 neuro and neurosurgery centers in the country. So get in with them.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Okay, congratulations. Do you have family here with you? Or just on your own?
No, my father was outside, but I was not sure for him to come in, and then he went home.
Okay, went home. Okay, well, we would like to take a picture and we will share it with your family. Okay, so before we jump into the superintendent's report, which is item 12.1, just a reminder, if you are here to speak on a non-agendized item under community comment, apologies, I can't seem to form words. We do have green cards in the back for signups to do that. So just a heads up on that, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Meyer for the superintendent's report.
All right, thank you. Thank you. First of all, congratulations to our students of the month. Very impressive and excellent choices. So thank you for that. Wanted to share some photos and brief updates on some of the things that we have been working on, and just some visuals so you can see some of the events that we have had in the last 2 weeks since our last board meeting. Here you can see Mountain View High School. They had their presentation. They had both choir and they had their band and orchestra outside, and the weather at that time was perfect. So you can see just kind of an opening of that lovely evening event. Some other school site happenings. As I have been able to go around, I've had the good fortune to certainly visit different classrooms in the last 2 weeks. You can see here on the left, students hard at work looking at mathematics. I could not resist the center photo, and that was why I was curious and had questions about it. But there is the visual of the pie in the face that we spoke of earlier. And I do see Mr. Mole is a spotlight right there. And what a fun time to really just enjoy yourselves and be back and do some of the things that are traditions. And then the other, it doesn't quite get the complete feel, but as you roam our campuses, in our gyms, they are filled with ping pong tables, and at least here at Mountain View High School, and you can see the students in their PE class that were enjoying having some time to participate. Wanted to also share some of the things that you may or may not see when you're walking around campus, but we have spoken quite a bit about the Los Altos High School Green Team, and I wanted to give the community and the board a visual to what this green team looks like when they meet. They fill the classroom, they run the meeting, no surprise, just expertly. Then they have subgroups that they break out into where they are each designing and working on specific projects that address the needs of our climate and our earth. I did also want to share that Mountain View High School this year also is starting their own green team class or club, excuse me. And so we hope to, in the very near future, start up, and we're talking about January, the committee that was a part of the resolution that the board passed. And so we look forward to having Los Altos and their club's wisdom and the new Mountain Views Club, and certainly meeting as a district committee. Another thing that I did want to share, as we finished our first quarter, there are different ways that different departments celebrate and recognize students for their efforts. And I had the good fortune of visiting the Los Altos High School AVID team department meeting and visiting classrooms afterwards. And this is the rose ceremony where students are recognized for their GPA within the AVID course. And you can see here the classroom and the beautiful roses, and then going to also into the freshman AVID course here. And you can see here in Ms. Miyahara's class, they were also watching the videos that have been created by the Los Altos ASB for homecoming. So I had the good fortune, I think 2 people in the room here were in those videos, and they were quite impressive. And so that being said, the 9th graders are really taking to that mode of seeing what's going on for homecoming as opposed to reading a bulletin. They're very engaged with the videos that have been created. Also wanted to share, and I think I made them look a little too long and lean in my distribution of the photo, but they really were full of spirit and music. You can see here, Homestead High School visited Mountain View High School. Their choir came and they really almost had a sing off, if you will, and took turns sharing and singing together, being able to do so outside in a very informal field trip that was held right out by the field at Mountain View High. And so here you can see on the left Homestead, and then on the right we have Jill Denny, who's there with her choir. I also wanted to share that we had, since our last board meeting, we're continuing to talk about equity and part of the equity team, and wanted to share here, you have Ms. Perla Pasayo, who is passionately expressing the conversation, looking at discussing about where we come from and who we are and the equity concepts in general. Continuing to have those steering committees, and they're going very well organized, certainly breakout groups, and very, very productive as we continue our equity work. And then just kind of on an aside, earlier on in one of my superintendent reports, I brought the enrollment numbers for you, and they have changed. And thank you to our business department, Mike Matheson, and our ed services department, Terry Fott, who collected these numbers. And this is really a snapshot that shows that we did have an initial kind of bump right at the beginning of the school, but then the numbers flattened out somewhat. And so you can see here that from the beginning of school to the day where we have to take enrollment, the CBEDS day in October, Los Altos lost about 5 students and Mountain View lost about 87. Now, interestingly, as shown last time, Mountain View had quite a big jump in the first place. So you can see the numbers end with 2095 and 2294. And as we look at Alta Vista, it is not unusual that Alta Vista numbers start out low in the beginning and students, as the need arises, then join the program. But instead, I believe, and this is probably an impact of the pandemic, did have one student that was there that left. So we are looking to see, what we can do also to increase the numbers there. And then just in general, 4,449. And then we have in our offsite programs, middle college, college now, we had 113 on the first day and then 74. And so some have come back to the comprehensive campuses, but in general, we know we had about 40 students, I believe it was, at middle college. And so there's still some places that we may want to look at adjusting our numbers. And so some tweaks and adjustments, there may be opportunities for that. So then just my continued bragging about our work out of our personnel department with our COVID designee information, and it is consistently updated and has been shown to be a model for the county. The work that we have done around this, and knock on wood, we've definitely seen a decline without a doubt since the first month of school. So if you have any questions about COVID, you can always just click on the front page of our website. And the same can be said for our construction FAQs. And that is also on the front page of our website. And that has continually been updated. And it's a great resource for our community and for our schools. And I went over this last time, so I will just zoom to our next speaker series as an announcement. First of all, special thanks to our foundation who helps provide the speakers and the partner foundations in our K-8s, as well as the PTSA Council. We had last week, Dr. Bradley spoke on, yes, my teen is crazy, but his message was not that his teen was crazy. It was that we need to communicate better with each other. And this next speaker series, November 16th, is the topic is "The Question is the Answer: Practical Strategies to Unleash Critical Thinking at Home." So kind of a new topic. We haven't really talked about something like this in a while. And then lastly, as mentioned, November 16th, critical thinking. On the 8th of November, between 4 and 6, we will have our annual data report. It's a 2-hour session where our board really delves deeply into different subject matters and also into the data that we have as far as assessment data and results from our classes. So that will be between 4 and 6 on the 8th, and a regular meeting at 7, and then a meeting on the 13th. And tucked in between the two is Veterans Day. So with that, here's a picture from Mountain View High School's homecoming and the folklorico dancers, and I caught a dancer by herself, and then also we look forward to the homecoming at Los Altos this week. So that concludes my update.
Thank you. Questions for Dr. Meyer? Thanks. Okay, so we are on to communications from district organizations, and I don't believe that we have anybody here this evening, right? Thank you. Okay, so we are on to 14.1, which is public comment on items not on the agenda. Is anybody wishing to speak in this section? Seeing nobody, we will continue on to item 15, which is our consolidated motion, noting that we already approved 15.1. So I would take a motion.
I move that we approve the consolidated motion 15.2 through 15.10.
Okay, we'll take Phil. We'll get him on the record here. He's been away on Zoom. Okay. So we've got a motion, a second from Catherine and Phil that we approve items 15.2 through 15.10. Ava, how would you like to vote?
I approve.
Thank you. Riley, thank you. And back to the board, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. And item 16, nothing, well, we pulled it, but we already did it. So we are on to item 17.1, which is the presentation on the McKinney-Vento Education for Homeless Children and Youth Program. And I think Dr. Meyer would do an intro. Thank you.
All right, thank you. First of all, as I know you are aware, the McKinney-Vento program is the program that supports our homeless youth within our community. And tonight I would like to introduce Alba Garza, who is our Community Resources Coordinator and our McKinney-Vento District Liaison, who will share more information and data on our program. Alba.
That's how nervous I am. Okay. Oh. All right. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for having me here tonight. I'm speaking about a subject that I am very passionate about. And the reason that I'm so passionate about this is because once upon a time, I was a little girl that was a McKinney-Vento student. I come from a family of, my parents were immigrants. One day, my dad lost his job, became unemployed. My mom had no job and we had no savings. And we fell into McKinney-Vento. And we went through this roller coaster of just different homes, different rooms, different garages. And so now I have the opportunity to speak here on behalf of those students. So I can't tell you what a privilege it is to represent our students tonight. And so I just want to briefly, I can talk about this for so many days, but I just want to briefly give you an overview of what Mckinney-Vento is, our system that we have here in place at MVLA, and then also the different roles, the incredible community that we have that serves our population, data, and different resources. And so as Dr. Nelly had mentioned, the Mckinney-Vento Act was originally part of the No Child Left Behind legislation. This was the first of its kind to address homelessness. So never before, it had been an issue, but never before had the schools taken action, or the state. And so who is eligible for the Mckinney-Vento Act? Students, when I talk about Mckinney-Vento, just to be trauma informed, we never use the word homeless with our students or our families. So usually how I'll bring it up to families is, are you in transition of housing? Do you lack a fixed, regular and adequate nighttime residence? And so this includes, under that umbrella, families that are currently renting a room in an apartment, renting with other families, and have no lease agreement. And I think that's a huge factor that sometimes people will tell me, well, isn't everybody Mckinney-Vento because it's so expensive to live in Silicon Valley? And no, this is different because these families have absolutely no legal right to be in the homes. And if sometimes they do have a legal right, they live in situations where it's 12 people in a room. And I'm talking about our students. I'm not talking about random people. These are students that are living 5 in a room, 12 in a room, that are currently living in shed communities. This is a recently since I started, I've been to these communities. And so these are landlords that rent out oversized sheds behind their homes, and you have 4 or 5 people living in the shed. And then these students are coming to school every day. I can't tell you how incredible these students are. And we have families that are currently renting garages. with not adequate facilities, like they don't have the fundamentals, so no electricity, no water. And then our RV communities, which I think a lot of you are familiar with. And so when we look at the impacts of homelessness on our students, just in the basic form, if we look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, these students, in order for them to even be able to learn, to fulfill their fullest potential, first we need to start at the bottom, at their physiological needs. And these students I have had students tell me, you know, I have no access to running water. And so what they do is on El Camino, they go to the bathrooms that are found in the parks, and they have to wheel in buckets of water to be able to warm it up and then take a shower inside of the RVs. And so this is what they have to go through every morning, every night. The warmth, these RVs are not ventilated. They have no type of heating system. And then also safety needs are not being met because these communities can sometimes be very dangerous. You're living in a home with extremely sometimes dangerous situations because they're strangers. So you have no idea who your kids are around. And then we know that it impacts their health. They have a higher rate of having different health problems. Their mental health, I mean, you can just imagine how this plays into anxiety, the depression, their educational outcomes. We know that in the state of California for the year 2019 to 2020, the school year, the graduation rates looked very dim. So as a state, I think we did pretty well. But then when it came, I think we were at 69.7. But when it came to the county of Santa Clara, it was 34%, the graduation rate. So it definitely impacts their overall educational outcomes in graduation. And then we have the inability to even put school as a priority, the inability to focus, to concentrate, to process information. When you have students that are not having their basic needs met, their threshold for frustration, if you have a student that has all these needs that are being met, they have a frustration tolerance of this. So they can put a little bit more to their day, and let's say they're having a bad day, someone makes a comment, no big deal. But when you have a student that is already up here, any little drop of any type of frustration, anxiety, anything that a teacher might mention, a bad grade, it puts them over the top. And so this is why it's so important to just be aware of the different impacts that homelessness has on students. And there's so much more, but as you can see, it's not enough time. And so we're so blessed to have a community that cares for our Mckinney-Vento students. I can't tell you enough how dedicated our therapists, our teachers, our coordinators are, how much they contribute to the overall wellness of our students. And so alongside them, part of my role is being the district liaison. And so I work very closely with our registrar's office to ensure that we have an easy flowing enrollment process, data collection, providing awareness to our families that their service is available. There's a lot of shame in their living conditions. So sometimes parents won't disclose for many years that they live under these conditions. And so providing presentations to parent groups, faculty, clinical teams, streamlining processes, attending quarterly meetings with the Santa Clara County Office of Education to ensure that we have best practices in place here at the district. And also overall just advocating, coordinating, providing case management services for our Mckinney-Vento families, and assisting with distributing all the generous donations that we get from grants, special programs, and actually going out to the community and having them put a face to our district. And then the current data here in Santa Clara, this is for 2018 to 2019. It went from 2,676 students to 2,899. And we know that this number for the school year 2019 to 2020 is going to be a lot higher because of the pandemic. And so the most interesting thing is that when we look at our percentages of Mckinney-Vento students by demographics, the Latinx community has, when you look at the percentage of students of Santa Clara County, there's 38.3 Latinx students. But when you look at how many of them are Mckinney-Vento, from that percentage, it's 78.5. So that's a huge percentage. And so we know that it's disproportionately impacting our Latinx community. When we look at our data, this is a moving target. Why? Because of everything that I just mentioned. We're still working on ensuring that our families know that we're a safe place to disclose their housing situation and that they can get support through us. So right now we have 53 MVLA high school families that are currently Mckinney-Vento. Our largest number is at Mountain View High School, and that's due because our newcomer population. And then when we look, 66% of our Mckinney-Vento students are at Mountain View High School. And so under Mckinney-Vento, there's certain provisions that our students receive. And so a couple of them are, they are able to enroll immediately, even without all the required paperwork. I think the one that I really want to highlight is that regardless of their housing situation, students can remain in their school of origin or for the remainder of the homelessness in their school district. And I think that sometimes that's the fear with parents is they're having to move from room to room, and sometimes it'll be in Mountain View, sometimes it'll be in Sunnyvale, but then they're back in Mountain View because they could only stay there for a month or 2 weeks. And so ensuring that the student has a consistent place to attend school and education is a huge, I mean, it's a huge plus for them. And transportation services, bus passes, access to all of our services. A lot of our teachers and therapists are excellent about this. If they know that a student doesn't have the means to be able to participate in something as simple as sports or a homecoming dance, they're able to guide the student so that they're able to still participate regardless of their ability to pay. And then appealing decisions regarding enrollment. And then another provision is AB 167. So this is an AB 1806, and this is a reduced graduation requirement for credits. So instead of the 120 credits, students are able to graduate with 130 credits, only if after their sophomore year they transferred schools. And the reason for this law is because we know that when students are transferring high schools, they're losing about a year every time they're transferring from high school to high school. And this is just a little bit more about how students are able to disclose their housing situation. Usually, most of our students will go through the registrar's office, but more often than not, there's a lot of self-disclosure to school personnel. And so we have in place a system of filling out a student housing questionnaire. And then depending the high school, there's a contact at every high school, which is our support services specialist. And then from there, we have this new exciting program that just started, and it's through the Bill Wilson Center, and it's our family advocacy services. And once that referral is made, a case manager will reach out, meet with the family, either at Alta Vista, Mountain View, or Los Altos, and we'll do basically a housing questionnaire that's called the VI-SPDAT. And that VI-SPDAT puts them into a community queue in Santa Clara County. So their ability to be able to obtain housing is a lot faster. And we have that on site here in our district. So it's a huge plus for our families. And then the McKinney-Vento status is only valid for the school year. So every new school year, every spring, I'll send out a recertification letter. And if the housing situation has remained the same, they put everything the same. If it's changed, then they're no longer McKinney-Vento. Like I mentioned, our district is very, very generous. We prioritize our families for special programs. And this is not just our staff, this is our students. Our student clubs have done an incredible job in donating supplies, gift cards, all types of resources for our students. And then we also have our E3 grants, which is through a philanthropy youth-centered club that during the pandemic they offered, and it was like a desk with supplies inside and with earplugs. So that was that was very nice for the students. And then there's a year-round collaboration with all of our community agencies that have always been extremely helpful. Hope's Corner was able to donate, it was probably over 100 of this generator that you see there for our students to be able to plug in for their computers, for their phones. A lot of our families have they have no ability to connect to electricity. So this was very helpful. We have our health van that comes twice a month, and it serves our population of students that are not insured or that have limited insurance. And then we have our a la carte food van that comes once a week also to provide meals to everyone, but with the focus of wanting to reach as many families as possible. And then our Bill Wilson new program that we have. And then these are just quick links to different resources that we have here, and they're updated daily. And then just some considerations before I end. I just want to mention that homelessness is not a crime, and this is something that unfortunately I have to remind our parents and our students. There was a law that was passed, AB 652, and so the fact that you are homeless in of in itself is not CPS reportable. And so I think that sometimes that's so important for families to know, because they might feel that shame of, I'm not able to provide for my daughter, for my son, is my child going to be taken away? And so that's what sometimes prevents them from wanting to share their housing condition. And just that we should always treat them, with respect, confidently, and making sure that their confidentiality is respected. Never ever referring to a family as homeless, or you're part of the McKinney-Vento program, just trying to be as confidential as you can about that. And then there was a very interesting article that, if anybody has time, I would highly recommend to check it out. And this is basically a news article that speaks about all of the trauma that our families go through when they're coming through our borders, and especially for our newcomers. And just to remember that school, I've had students tell me that school is the only place that they know is going to be constant and remain the same. And that stability is sometimes the only thing that they have. And that's aside from maybe it's their only meals for that day. It's the only consistent part of their whole life when everything else is so rocky. So I just want to say thank you for considering all of their needs, and for always prioritizing our McKinney-Vento students. Thank you.
Questions, comments?
I just want to say.
Yeah.
About this, and I think it's great. I think this program is wonderful. I wish we could help more kids. Do you think we are really reaching all the kids in our district who are homeless?
Absolutely not. No, I think,
How
yeah.
can we do a better job?
I think by raising the awareness of just that this program is even available, because a lot of families, they share with me, like, I had no idea that, my student would be able to remain in your school district if we're moving from shed to shed or from room to room. So I think raising that awareness is huge.
And how do we raise that awareness? Is there some way we could publicize this in the right places?
Yes, so we are working on that on our websites, presentations. We've been doing a lot of outreach with our different parent groups at the different high schools. And I think that'll open up many more doors to identify.
If you have in that area, would be welcome.
Thank you.
I would think,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
You go first.
I would think that the students that are currently involved in the program may be able to be the best advocates for explaining the words to people they may come in contact with in the same situation, right?
Absolutely.
It's really serious, and it's a sad state. And I really appreciate all the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
My question is, you say that, and of course it's true, that we don't even identify all the students that are at school as in this situation. How many kids, particularly once they're in high school, just don't show up anywhere, and so they're not even in the school system?
Yeah.
Do you have any notion what that might be like?
The number is high, especially after, I've heard that especially after COVID, not necessarily in our district, but in different districts, especially San Jose Unified. I've heard our liaisons mention that it's difficult to track them and
To even
to keep
come to
that
school in the
contact.
first place,
Yeah,
under any circumstance.
yeah,
And so we don't even know they exist.
yeah. Yeah, so that's a great point.
So just,
So,
yeah,
I think there's somebody in the audience who wants to speak on this topic.
right. I was gonna do that in just one sec. I was just gonna say a quick thank you myself as well. Just, I know you're on the clock 24/7, Alba, and thank you for the work that you do. Alba's on all 3 of our sites, and you've got ears to the ground, and we're just very grateful to have you.
Yes.
Thank you so
um,
much.
Yeah, so now I will open it to community comment if somebody has a comment that they'd like to make. Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So why don't you do more like student outreach? Like, I don't think I've heard anything about this thing that looks like a great program. I heard students could convince it to students that have more education on it.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. I think we need to increase our, our outreach when it comes to students. I think because it's such a complicated topic that sometimes we want to address it with the most confidentiality that we possibly can. And I think maybe that's probably what holds us back sometimes. But we are open to suggestions of how we can do it in a delicate manner.
Actually, an idea, I mean, we put all kinds of notifications up in the restrooms. Actually, is that something that
that's another
we've tried on
possibility.
this? I mean, there's tons of information distributed to the restrooms on campuses.
Yeah.
That would be an idea.
It might have to be kept restrooms in public places. You know what I mean? I mean, these places like Eagle Park or I don't know wherever it is.
Oh, I see what you're saying, not necessarily on our campuses. I understand, sure. Sure, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would love that.
And I think that Challenge Team, which is an organization that we
Well, I'll be
participate in,
there often.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
often
and
there.
you come, the website, I happen to be the webmaster, could put stuff about it on there too. If you
Oh,
would send us what you want to put there.
that'd be great. And I just drafted something, so perfect timing.
Okay.
Okay, that's amazing. All right. Thank you very much,
Thank
Alba. We know you're
you.
away from family. Thank you. Okay, so item 17.2 is a presentation from our special education department. And Dr. Meyer, do you want to?
Yes, thank you. As we return to in-person learning, one of the things that we wanted to look at is how we were supporting different groups of students within different subgroups. And we knew through the pandemic that as we tracked students and as we heard feedback, that students with disabilities face disproportionate challenges. So tonight we would like to bring forward to you an overview and an update on our special education department. We have our new special education administrator, Nina Mand, who will walk us through some of the programs that we offer, some of the data around that, and answer general questions. So welcome, Nina, and thank you for being here.
So good evening, honorable board members, student representatives. You guys are awesome. Cabinet members, community members, and leadership at Mountain View. About a month and a half ago, I was right here being welcome to the Mountain View Los Altos community, and I'm so excited that I get this opportunity. I would like to share with you what our department is, where we are, what our goals are. So as we know that all of our students can learn different ways, and we all do that. We learn just not on the same day, but we may learn on different ways. I wanted to go over the different campuses, like Mountain View High School, how many teachers we have, the staffing and the students. So we have specialized teachers there, and we have instructional assistants. We have psychologists that support our students. We have therapists, Gabby was here. Hi, Gabby. And we also support the students with the speech and language pathologists. These are all related services that students receive through their IUP. And for Los Altos, similarly, there are 16 specialized teachers. We have 22 instructional aides, but that's not, some of them are still in the position that we still have to hire. The team at Los Altos is supported by 2 psychologists, a speech and language pathologist, and we have clinicians there as well.
Can I ask you something real quick? How many positions are we still looking to hire out of all the ones that you put up? Do you know, Pam?
All of our teachers are covered. All of our teachers are covered.
Okay.
We are currently looking into some psychologists, clinicians, a speech and language pathologist, and a BCBA, which is a behavior specialist. So at Alta Vista, we have a smaller program. It's a 2 classroom that is supported by 4 instructional assistants. And we have Alva supporting that program. We of course have our adult transition program that's at Masonic Lodge. It's a community-based program. And we have over there 3 teachers and 7 instructional assistants. That program is supported by a contractor for this services. And some of our, there's been reconfiguration in the department. So we've had this year the new positions that have been with Mountain View High School. We have Nicole as the site coordinator, special ed coordinator, and we have Erica Starks at Los Altos. And we are being supported by Ms. Paula here, who kind of supports our special ed programs. We have Hong, who is covering for our non-public school, residential, and students that are being provided services through Santa Clara County Office of Education. My role has been there too, supporting the team. And then we will be having a board certified behavior analyst. That's a position that's being posted. I'm quite excited about getting that person on board soon. So here's what the program looks like. So we have the old style of resource classes where students would take 1 or 2 small group instruction classes, out of which 1 is a learning class. So we have about 9 resource classes between the 2 campuses. SAI is the specialized academic instruction program where students may be in 3 or more special ed classes. And they may have a study skill that helps them, supports them in general ed classes and other small group instruction classes. We have our life skills programs on both the campuses, and we have 5 of those. There's 1 in Los Altos and 4 at Mountain View. We have the academic communication classes on both the campuses, and 6 therapeutic classes. There are 5 at Los Altos and there's 1 at Mountain View. I know there was a question and an email saying that how come there are 16 classes on each of the campuses? I think we have the Los Altos has the ED program, while Mountain View houses the life skills program. We have, actually that's an error there. We have 1 class for medical graduate class at Mountain View. The community-based instruction program, which serves our students from 18 to 22 at the Masonic Lodge. There are the 3 classes there. We currently have 27 students in non-public schools. There are about 10 non-public schools in the community that they're being served. We have 9 students in residential treatment centers and 3 students in the county office. So this is very exciting for Mountain View Los Altos. There are many, many opportunities where teachers co-teach. Cultural identity and communication, biology, math. That's really exciting for Los Altos. Mountain View has 9 through 12 grade English, which is co-taught. And then they have 2 classes for Algebra 1 and for World Studies as well. So this is an interesting slide. Try to put something together after we always encourage integration and mainstreaming. And I put number of students. They have not counted the adult transition program because those are for ages 18 to 22. And they are not on a comprehensive high school. So 18 of the students are not accessing general ed setting. And that does not mean there's something that is to be looked into. Probably they need a very intensive program like the Mckinney-Vento classes or the life skill classes, and that is their least restrictive environment. That's the most appropriate learning opportunities that they can have. So about 108 students are accessing 10 to 50% of their time in the general ed classes. And 137 of them are about 50 to 80% of the time they're spending in general ed. And we have 2 students that are 100% in general ed, and that is because they usually have a speech language pathologist, the specialist, that's their case manager, and they only have speech services. I think they do not require a case management through a credentialed teacher. The speech pathologist can do that. Just wanted to look at the overview of the ethnicity, how it's divided. It's quite a diverse group. Some sections are really high, like the non-Hispanic white and the Hispanic white community. But we do have a very diverse group of students. What are we excited about? We are really excited to look at the culture and embracing the culture of Mountain View. It's increasing and building that community in general, outside and within the campuses. We want to make sure we continue improving communication with our families. And we have, it's called the Community Advisory Committee that supports families through the CELPA 1, which has Palo Alto, Mountain View Business School District, Los Altos School District, and us. But we wanted something for our own group at Mountain View Los Altos. So we're working towards a parent advisory committee. We sent out Google surveys this month. We're collecting data as to how our family members and parents would like to participate and create that opportunity to have increasing communication from the department. There's a lot of opportunities through the CELPA for professional development for each of our specialist groups. So that is something that on an ongoing basis, when we meet in teams, we share that. And it currently it is volunteer basis. If anybody wants a certain area that they're really interested in, they can get those trainings through the CELPA. And one of the areas is to meet all of the compliances that CDE sends us. Sometimes under very short notice, but there are certain timelines that we have to send reports, and that's something we would be working towards. What do we want each student and actually each team member to achieve is more integration, more opportunities for the students to participate in general ed settings and in the community. We're excited about bringing more professional development for our staff members. We want to make sure that we work in teams to address, because our needs are different, and yet our needs have become even more different after the pandemic. We want to make sure we revisit processes that was prior to the pandemic, how things changed and evolved, to revisiting our processes to streamline those, and then continuing to support all of our teams. What challenges that we have seen post-pandemic is the increase in referrals that we are getting. Lots of students that are being referred for mental health support, for getting initial assessments to see if we can get some more, whether they qualify through special education, some accommodations and things like that. One of the challenges that we have had is trying to fill the position for speech and language pathologists. There's a huge shortage. We reached out to contractors. They want to work remotely, but one of the things we advocate is that we have all of our staff and our students are here at all hands on deck. So we really want to work with contractors that we come in person and help and support. So our board certified behavior analyst is another area that we want to hire that can support some of our students that may exhibit behaviors and they may have those services in their IEPs. And one, we do have certain grants like the workability and the transition partnership grants through the Department of Rehab. But looking at vocational opportunities for our students, we don't have all of our students going to four-year colleges or community colleges. We would like to see certain opportunities that can open up for them. It could be through a regional center, it could be through ROPs, the old timers they used to call ROPs, or maybe accessing community colleges to see if they have some vocational programs and also apprenticeship programs that are available in the community. How do we evaluate the success of the department? We constantly do goals and objectives. How we look at progress reports, and at the gate, the students are meeting their goals and objectives. That's one measure of success. And the other measurement of success is looking at how many students are receiving diplomas. So about 85.5% of the students this year are on the track to get diplomas. And we have 14% of the students that will get certificate of completion. Those students will go on to the adult transition program. We're working on creating transition processes for incoming students from 8th grade to our district, and also from high school, the students that will be going into the adult transition program. The other thing we are looking at is how to look at the model of services and where students are more independent. Are there, like the speech and language pathologist services, instead of having pushing, once the student shows independence, instead of pulling out, pushing in into then providing services, and then doing group services. And as the students are getting older to the adult transition program, because it is a language-based program, that they are able to build it, it's embedded in the curriculum itself. So looking at those models, and also going back into on the drawing board with our clinicians, with our psychologists, to look at how these processes need to be worked on. And more success in the mainstream classes, the more opportunities our students get, and the more they are in the general ed, they are around general ed peers. Here's the money. So the special ed funding comes through local, state, and federal funds. And I put down federal and general funds in two places, and federal funds, because those are the monies that are coming towards our mental health support system. The total special ed cost is about 16 million plus. We have small grants that I mentioned earlier, the workability grant and the transition partnership contract with the Department of Rehab that really helps support the transition goals of the students. And students that are 16 and over get a transition plan. I wanted to also share with you how our expenses look like. 71.9% of our costs are towards staffing. 28% goes towards supporting our students that are in programs like the non-public school and residential and the county office. And part of that also goes towards contracted services. I'm open to questions.
I just have kind of a basic question. If you have a teacher who is not credentialed in SPED, but wants to be, what does it take to become a SPED teacher? And are we encouraging any of our teachers that may want to do that to take that route?
There, I can give you an example. Actually, the credentialing system is going through changes. So local colleges like San Jose State, you have to have a bachelor's degree and then do a step 1 and step 2 program. In earlier times, we had to do general ed credential and then go back to do either mild to moderate or mild to severe credential. But I know that there have been some changes that are coming down the pipe.
Because I know that it seems like all the districts are having problems hiring, teachers that have credentials instead, right? And it seems like we should be able to be creative, to be able to fill these positions with people that maybe, are interning, or I don't know, some creative way to be able to support our students while when they're learning. I think I heard someplace, and maybe it was San Jose Unified, where they were agreeing to pay for teachers to go back to school to get their credential, and then you'd have to stay with the district for 2 years. And I don't know if that's something we're considering, because it seems like we can't stop. We need to be more creative about how we're going to, fund these positions.
I would say we're very fortunate in our recruiting. And so when we're looking for special education teachers, we find special education teachers. The places where every district in the state is struggling, Nina mentioned speech language pathologists, and in many districts, that position, they receive a $4,000 signing bonus, like the Yankees or something. And well-deserved. It's a very difficult credential, and it's a very specific one. And there are others, and perhaps Terry or Layla could add to it, but I just have to say, we really do recruit and hire veterans, strong special education teachers, because we're a very desirable district and have a lot of these wonderful supports that you've seen. And I would say, Terry, I know you had a comment.
I'll add that some of our special education teachers were instructional aides for a period of time. And through the amazing job they were performing, we've encouraged them to go forward and simultaneously take classes and continue instructional aiding or come back. But we do have a few teachers that have definitely proven themselves as aides. And so when they got their credential and then interviewed, and Raylan is an example, she's doing an amazing job as a SPED teacher.
Yeah, it just worries me, because I know it's a really specialized job, and it requires a talent, and it's stressful, I would think, and.
Hey, Debbie, your mic is off. I'm sorry, I'm just noticing.
Anyways, and I just think that if we have a way to make sure that our staff is full, then we need to take every advantage we can to be able to do that.
It's a really good point as we build for the future and see just kind of the supply 5 years out, 10 years out, just to make sure that we plan, and provide ways. I don't know if there were any other comments on positions in the department that are harder to fill. I know bilingual psychologists, bilingual therapists certainly has also been a group that we have looked at and looking for different ways to recruit and incentivize.
I wanted to share with the audiences that I forgot to mention that in my slides, if you noticed that there was some art and it was different on each slide. I wanted to let you know that it was from the art class at Los Altos High School. This is from one of the classes.
I had a question. So if you need speech and language therapy, does that automatically mean you're a SPED student? So out of our 4,500 students, approximately on the district-wide, if you have any speech or language therapy at all, that you are part of the SPED program. Is that true?
Yes. The two students that we mentioned was 100% in general ed because that's the only service they require.
Yeah, okay, that's what you're referring to there.
Yes. And other students may have different levels of services, be it pull-out service, individual. It could be pull-out group. It could be push-in individual or push-in in a group. Even our clinicians do push-ins. Our speech and language pathologists, they go into the classroom and teach the classroom, co-teach the classroom as well.
On the same note, the psychologists and the therapists that work with the SPED students, they also work with general ed students that aren't SPED?
Yes.
So these are shared with the general ed
Yes, because when we have an initial that comes out, somebody that feels that they may be a need, the student may have an SSD and then needing to 504 plan to see what accommodations they may need.
Mhm.
If there's a suspected disability, then the referral goes to the psychologist who does the assessment. And then all of the teams come in. Does the student have deficits in speech? May have a mental health, so they do an ERMS assessment.
Mhm.
If they have any fine motor, gross motor challenges, then an occupational therapist will be assigned. If a student has vision issues, so we need vision services, and then orientation and mobility. We don't have that many groups to hire positions, so we contract them as services, and that's where it went into the contracting.
Okay, along those lines, how many of the students that are in our SPED program, I don't want to put you on the spot of an actual number, but approximately, do we get already in the SPED program from our partner schools K through 8? Yeah, and then we get them and we continue on. How many of the ones are there compared to identified approximately percentage-wise once they get in our high school system?
It varies from year to year. So currently we've reached out to our middle school special ed administrators asking them to send us 3-year data so we can identify and kind of do projections as to how many students are coming in as an incoming ninth graders next year and the year from.
Mhm.
Right.
So we kind of do a sliding analysis on what we think we're going to have as our SPED population.
Can I just was looking at this data. So in 2021, we had 76 from students from one school and 35 students from another school referred to special ed. And out of that referral, 38 in one school and 15 were assessed. And out of the assessment, 22 from one school and 10 students from another school qualified. And so that was already MVLA students in 1 year. 10 qualified for special education at one school and 22 at another school.
Okay, so we do a reassessment or we evaluate as they're coming into our program where they fit, if you will.
So in the articulation process in the springtime, we do a shorter meetings where we have them come to our high school and then we do a 30-day placement to see the placement that we refer to. We reassess whether it's appropriate. Are the services that are being provided for those students are accurate? Are the goals? Because the goals that they come with in the elementary school are very different than the goals that we need in a high school, comprehensive high school.
Yeah.
So that has to be assessed. The services are assessed. It's a working document.
Mhm.
And then all of our students do have an annual IEP where we revisit the goals. We revisit the current level of performances and the services. Then every 3 years, there's a triennial process where the psychoeducational evaluation and all specialists that work with that student have to provide an assessment and a report.
So in other words, we track everybody very carefully.
Yes. So there has been increase in the initial assessments in the high school after post-pandemic, even for the mental health services. There has been an increase.
So I have a question on the adult transition program. You said is that the Masonic Lodge? Is that the one in downtown Mountain View?
Yes.
On high school and whatever the cross street is. That's great. That's a nice partnership. That's neat that worked out. I didn't know that that's where it was located. And then Nina, you talked about vocational oriented classes, and I realized that I sent my questions very late last night, and I do apologize that they came in so late. Are we thinking about bringing back things like construction or many of our labor unions, electrical, construction, painting, would love to partner with our kids, both Alta Vista, I mean, really with any of our kids to try and build their own pipelines. And I don't know if that's,
We are lovely hope and dream.
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, recognizing that you've been on the job not very long. So anyway, but that's definitely, they're eager to partner. They would love to partner with us. So. Okay. Anything else? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the great information. Thank you. Okay, so calendar events. Dr. Meyer, let's see, did you have your list? Your superintendent? Oh, it did. Okay, so there was a list at the front. Also, November 8th is our next meeting. We have the study session from 4 to 6. Pardon? Yeah, tomorrow night is the School Boards Association Fall Dinner in person. Yay, I can't believe it.
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, yeah, not tomorrow. Thank you. Yeah, you were scaring me. Debbie.
Uh-oh. What are we supposed to go do
I'm
tomorrow?
not prepped. Anyway, but November 8th would be our next gathering here. Communications correspondence. Future reports for board meetings. Okay, and I already did 18.4. We do not need 19.1 because we're not going back into closed session. I would take a motion to adjourn.
I move, we adjourn.
Get a motion from Catherine and a second from Phil that we adjourn for the evening at 8:43. Alpha, how would you like to vote? Thank you. And Riley?
I approve.
Thank you. Back to the board. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We are adjourned.